Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. Quick announcement that it is highly likely that for next week or so, we will not have our classes for all the batches. So I will send message in the group as soon as I become available of the situation that will lead to no classes. So what you all do is use the time to catch up on whatever is left over for you, like listening to recordings or reading purports or listening to Prabhupada lectures. Use the time to get caught up. And those of you who are in the process of getting caught up on past recordings, you can definitely use the time to get caught up. So we heard at the very start of our Bhagavad Gita discussion that to respect Krishna means you respect the time you have carved out for Krishna. So this time is carved out for Krishna. Whether or not we have classes, it is still time carved out for Krishna. So you use it for Krishna's service. So use it to get caught up or even read again all the purports, listen to lectures, get caught up on past lectures, everything. Everybody okay with the plan?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, for when we don't have classes, I will anyway send Prabhupada lectures to listen to as well. So you can listen to those additional lectures also. So today, first I will answer all the leftover inquiries. There are quite a few that got piled up. I will answer all those inquiries and then we'll start Bhagavad Gita chapter 4. Although the inquiries will take up a lot of time, at least half of our class time, but that's okay. I have to answer all your inquiries so that the misconceptions are destroyed. So up to last class, I have answered up to inquiry number 8. So I'm just continuing the sequence and I will today answer from inquiry number 9. Question number 9 is, what is the proof that we have surrendered? How do we get a confirmation that we have surrendered? The answer is, when you will be fully surrendered, you will have no engagement in material world except for service of Krishna. When you are fully surrendered, you will have no fear. It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, a few places, that fear is caused by time. But once you surrender to the Lord, time does not affect you, therefore you have no fear. An example of this is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, where the past life of Srila Narad Muni is described. Srila Narad Muni in his past life as a 5-year-old ordinary Shudra boy had already become completely spiritual. Therefore, this purified spiritual 5-year-old boy was able to travel through the dangerous jungles without any fear, although he was traveling through the jungle for the very first time. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, everybody work with me and try to respond. Okay, question number 10. If there is a huge mismatch in your materialistic world between your earnings and expenditure, then is it fine first to balance materialistic world by first earning finances for daily needs and then moving ahead with spiritual endeavors? So the devotee who has asked this question has already asked this same question to me several times by rewording the question. So at our last class, we read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 27, verse number 8, that everyone has a predestined set quota of happiness and distress, and it is not possible to earn more money simply by your endeavor. We should be satisfied with what comes to us by bare minimum endeavor, and we should not over endeavor. So we should have a balance between spiritual and material life. As long as you earn just about enough to keep your body and soul together and maintain family. Material world is a place of misery. No matter what you do, material world is going to continue to be a place of misery. Further, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.58, Macchitta Sarva Durgani, that if you become conscious of Krishna, then you will be able to cross over material world miseries. But most people in the material world think that I should first become materially well situated. Then I will come to Krishna consciousness. No, it's not possible. Krishna has clearly stated in 18.58 that you first become conscious of me, then you will not have material miseries. But if you try to solve your material problems by yourself, you will be lost and you will not attain peace of mind. Does that answer the inquiry? Yes, no, I'm assuming many of you forgot who asked the question. Okay. Question number 11. What is the difference between sacrifice and surrender? So sacrifice is a process to recognize and honor higher authority. And surrender means you are completely dependent on the Lord. So the sacrifice for Kali Yuga is the Sankirtan Yajna, that you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, distribute Srila Prabhupada books and distribute prasadam. That is the yajna for Kali Yuga. Okay. Question number 12. Please explain the point of having rain with yajna. So we read in chapter 3, around verses 14, 15, 16, that this is the cycle created by Krishna. That Krishna has hired the demigods for managing the universe. And in return, the jiva are supposed to perform yajna for satisfaction of the demigods. So rain does not happen by itself. Indra is in charge of rains, and he is the one who sends the rain or withholds the rain, or sometimes when he gets angry, he sends more rain. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, I got silence. Everybody should respond, or if you have follow-up questions, by all means, ask follow-up questions. Question number 13. What should be the frequency? Meaning, how will we know that we are living the life of sacrifice or the life of yajna? So the frequency should be every moment. Entire life should be lived as a yajna. Then you will have no reaction and no bondage in the material world. As I described, that yajna for Kali Yuga is the Sankirtan yajna, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, to distribute books and prasad. Then it is highly likely that we will be able to remember Krishna at the moment of death, or at least Krishna will remember us to help us remember Krishna. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam that Swayambhuva Manu is in charge of universe. So every day of Brahmaji is split into 14 parts, and there are 14 Manus. And each Manu lives for about 71 cycles of the 4 yugas, which equates to roughly 306,720 306,720,000 Earth years. So Swayambhuva Manu lived this long life every day, fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. That should be the frequency, every day, every moment, to live as a yajna. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Question number 14. Cooking, going to office, taking care of family, and Brahma Muhurta Japa, will these be considered as sacrifice? So these will be considered as sacrifice as long as you do it for the pleasure of Gopinath. So cooking, if you are doing the cooking for your enjoyment, then no. We read in 3.13 that one who cooks and eats for himself, he is only living a life of sin. But if you are cooking for Gopinath to offer to Gopinath and take the remnants as prasad, then yes, it is yajna. If you are going to office just to earn money, then no. But if you are remembering Krishna 24 hours while doing your day-to-day work, then it becomes yajna. Taking care of family, as long as you consider your family as devotees of Krishna and you serve Krishna together with your family, then it becomes a yajna. Doing japa anytime, not just in the Brahma Muhurta period. Doing japa is definitely a spiritual endeavor. Brahma Muhurta period is about 1.5 hours before sunrise. It's considered a very auspicious time to do the japa. The quality of japa will be good, but you don't have to be rigid. Krishna consciousness is not a rigid principle. No, you can alter your japa. Sometimes it's not possible. So japa is spiritual no matter when you do it. Even you can do the japa in your sleep, it still is sacrifice. Does that answer the inquiry? Question number 15. How should we go for bhoga offering to the Lord? What is the procedure of offering bhoga to the Lord? So there is a recording available of the entire bhoga offering process demonstration from my home temple with all the required steps and the prayers. If any one of you are interested to get this bhoga offering demonstration video, you can just get in touch with me or request to me. Some devotees from this batch present right now have actually tried to follow and follow what is described in this video. Okay. Question number 16 is that largely the food that we have is of large variety. So how do we decide what to offer to the Lord? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, that fruits, vegetables, grains, milk, water are to be offered to him with love and devotion, then he will accept. In 9.26 purport, Krishna says that meat is not to be offered to Krishna. So Krishna is not giving a laundry list of items to be offered and not offered. Rather, Krishna gives a principle that vegetarian food items are to be offered to Krishna, and that eggs, meat, fish, all these non-vegetarian items are not to be offered to Krishna. So within vegetarian items, there are few items considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Hence, we do not offer those items which are in the mode of ignorance to Krishna. Some of such items in the mode of ignorance, which we do not offer to Krishna, are garlic, onion. Within the grains, masoor dal. I don't know the English name of masoor dal. Many of you, or almost all of you, are from India, so you would know what masoor dal is. And then mushrooms. There can be few more items which are there, but you can start, and as you progress, you will get to know what all items. Now, this mushrooms is very tricky. Generally, mushrooms are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, we do not offer mushrooms to the Lord. But in one country, I think it is Spain, I'm going by my contaminated energy, Spain or some country around there, where the major crop of that country is mushrooms. So in that country, they offer mushrooms to Gopinath. But the rest of the world, we don't offer mushrooms to Gopinath. Does that answer the inquiry?
Prabhuji, why they offer mushroom and we cannot offer mushroom?
Yeah, I already said that this is a very tricky question in terms of mushrooms, that actually it is in the mode of ignorance. But in that country, the major crop is mushrooms. So why they do it in that country, I have no idea. How they got that exemption somehow, I don't know. But for us who are in North America and in India and Nepal, you can avoid mushrooms. I don't know the exact reason why they are allowed to offer mushrooms, but the only reason I can think of is that it's the major crop of the country. Like the biggest production of the country is mushrooms. So they have no choice but to use what is being produced in that country as the major crop. Malti, does that help you?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Sumnima?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So does that mean we should also eventually not consume mushroom?
You are absolutely correct. So just as garlic and onions also, that you are trying to purify yourself. So if you simultaneously contaminate yourself further by consuming items in the mode of ignorance, such as garlic or onion or masoor dal or mushrooms, well, then you are countering your purification uh, endeavor. So yes, avoid items in the mode of ignorance. Sumnima?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
And Gulshan, yes, chocolate is also prohibited. Chocolate we don't offer to Gopinath, we don't consume also.
I have a
Dara?
question.
Dara first.
Sorry, Prabhuji, what about food items that we buy from stores? So, for example, like pasta or noodles.
So cooked items from store, we do not offer to Gopinath. For pasta and noodles, be careful to buy pasta and noodles which are offerable. So some pasta and some noodles may have egg or egg related items in there. So
Yes.
you avoid. So be very careful to buy raw, not half cooked.
Okay.
Buy raw and cook yourself. So 9.26, Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta prayachati. Tad aham bhakti upaharatam asnami prayatatmanaha. So the word bhakti comes twice in this verse, that you have to offer with love and devotion. So you get raw items and then you cook with love and devotion, and that you offer. So I'll give you a simple example of cooked items. For example, you are making raita and you are using bundi. Now bundi comes cooked from outside. So at the temple, we don't use cooked bundi to offer to the Lord. What we do is we use the maida or the required flour to make bundi. We make bundi there and then we offer to the Lord. So it's not maida, it's the chana atta that we use to make bundi. So I'm trying to give you an example to understand the principle that cooked items that are cooked by materialistic people, we don't offer, we cannot offer to the Lord. Tara?
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Matan Prabhu?
Yeah, I wanted to ask why Mysore dal is not offerable.
It's in the mode of ignorance.
Okay.
So if you honor masoor dal, your senses will get agitated, or any of the items of ignorance, your senses will get agitated. Therefore, they are in the mode of ignorance, and therefore we don't offer to Gopinath and we don't consume also. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Question number 17 and 18, I'll answer together. Question number 7 is, there are rodents, ants, and cockroaches in the house. We do not want to kill them, but they do not go even after pest control treatment. Then how do we get rid of that knowing that we all are children of God, including these rodents, ants, cockroaches are also children of the Lord. And question number 18 is continuation, that sometimes we do not want to harm them, but they destroy our food and poison other materials. So according to God's law, we should not kill them. Then how do we protect ourselves? Because these flies, cockroaches, ants, the presence in the kitchen is scaring. So very good, very practical example or inquiry. So the answer is that if you keep your home clean, there is less likelihood of these pests. Further, some killing is unavoidable. Even while we talk or while we walk, there is some killing. So Srila Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam that devotee should avoid violence. But when necessary, devotee should only do bare minimum violence. So in terms of killing these pests, the higher principle of offering clean items to Krishna comes into play. So you are killing them not for the sake of killing them, but you are killing so that you can offer clean bhoga offering to Gopinath. And even while you have to clean or kill them, you should chant Hare Krishna while you are killing them. So at least there is some benefit for those pests that they hear Krishna's name at the moment of death, and they either get liberated or at least they get human form of life in the next life. So I'll bring up that Srimad Bhagavatam verse on screen very soon. So there's a related question for which, so for these 17, 18 and the upcoming question, I will bring up on screen and we will read for that. Does that answer the inquiry? It's a practical inquiry for all of you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I will soon bring up, as soon as I answer the next question, I will bring up this Srimad Bhagavatam verse where Prabhupada says that devotee should do bare minimum violence. Okay, let's first discuss question number 19. So question number 19 is, plants are also living beings. Animals are also living beings. Then when we eat vegetables, is that considered that we are doing sin by cutting plants to be considered as our meal? Again, very practical, very good inquiry. That yes, it is correct that fruits and vegetables also have life. So vegetarianism is good, but vegetarianism is not all good because there is little bit of sin incurred in being vegetarian also. Therefore, we have to be above vegetarianism and become prasadian. So when we offer bhoga to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates by making that offering as prasad and giving it back to us. And in this process, Krishna removes the sin from fruits and vegetables. Otherwise, if you are not offering fruits and vegetables to Krishna, so we read in 3.13 that you are only incurring sin. Even vegetables, you are incurring sin if it is not offered to Krishna. I mean, between killing animals and living and plants and fruits and vegetables, the component of the sin is less in fruits and vegetables versus when somebody kills animals, the degree of sin is more. So material world is designed that violence is unavoidable. But we have to do violence only as much as is necessary. So for these three questions, number 17, 18, 19, I will bring up on screen Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 29, verse number 15, and we'll read from the screen. Everybody able to see? Okay. Ankit Prabhu, can you please read from the screen where it says another significant phrase in this verse is Nati Imshrena.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, go ahead.
Another significant phrase in this verse is Natim Shrena, with minimum violence or sacrifice of life. Even if a devotee has to commit violence, it should not be done beyond what is necessary. Sometimes the question is put before us to ask us not to eat meat, but you are eating vegetables. Do you think that is not violence? The answer is that eating vegetables is violence, and vegetarians are also committing violence against other living entities because vegetables also have life. Non devotees are killing cows, goats, and so many other animals for eating purposes, and a devotee who is vegetarian is also killing. But here, significantly, it is stated that every living entity has to live by killing another entity. That is the law of nature. Jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is the life for another living entity. But for a human being, that violence should be committed only as much as necessary. A human being is not to eat anything which is not offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yagna Sishta Sinha Santa, one who becomes freed from all sinful reactions by eating foodstuffs which are offered to Yagna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee therefore eats only prasad or foodstuffs offered to the Supreme Lord. And Krishna says that when a devotee offers him foodstuffs from the vegetable kingdom with devotion, he eats that. A devotee is to offer to Krishna foodstuffs prepared from vegetables. If the Supreme Lord wanted foodstuffs prepared from animal food, the devotee could offer this, but he does not order to do that. We have to commit violence, that is a natural law. We should not, however, commit violence extravagantly, but only as much as ordered by the Lord. Arjuna engaged in the art of killing, and although killing is, of course, violence, he killed the enemy simply on Krishna's order. In the same way, if we commit violence as it is necessary by the order of the Lord, that is called Nati Himsa. We cannot avoid violence, for we are put into a conditional life in which we have to commit violence. But we should not commit more violence than necessary or than ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay, super excellent recitation of the Sanskrit verses, Ankit Prabhu. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So as is described in Bhagavad Gita 3.12, 3.13, and 9.26, and what we read also, that fruits and vegetables are the prescribed fruit for humans. Offer fruits and vegetables as bhoga to Gopinath and honor these as prasad. And if the fruits and vegetables are not used in offering to the Lord, then they fall off the tree and they go to waste. So might as well use it. By killing animals, one is disturbing the evolution cycle of the soul in the animal body. Sumnima had a question or somebody else?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, is it enough that we recite the prayer of like Mahaprasad Govindi, or do we have to put it in the altar to call it prasadam?
We have to put it on the altar. So Sumnima, I have given you the video and the prayers of the Bhoga offering demonstration. So there are set prayers. So you put it on the altar and you follow the steps that I have described, what Sumnima already knows. The rest of you do not know. Some of you have seen me do this at the Toronto temple. So those of you who have not seen this, you can get this video and the relevant document for the steps and the process to follow. So you have to put it on the altar. You have to say the prayers, and then it becomes prasad. And then before honoring, you say the Mahaprasade Govinde prayers. Now, sometimes it's not possible to put on the altar, you can create a makeshift altar. I had given an example earlier, I'll repeat, that one time I was coming back very late, I think it was past 10 p.m. and I had no prasad in my car. Generally, when I'm coming from someplace or the other, I'll have some fruit or something. And I was doing bhoga shopping very late. And at the store, one very old, feeble lady on a wheelchair came in front of me and said, "Give me money, I am very hungry." So I told her, "I cannot give you money, but if you are hungry, I can give you some fruit to eat. Would you be okay to eat fruit?" But I wanted to give this person prasad, not raw food, because raw food is also going to be sinful. So I generally have the Hare Krishna Mahamantra card in my pocket, always, generally, always. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is equal to Krishna. So what I did was, I bought food from the store and I went in a corner in a store. So there's a big store. I went in a corner in a store and I placed the Hare Krishna Mahamantra card in a corner and I offered the food and I asked for forgiveness that I'm offering item which is not even clean. But I said, forgive. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the most lenient form of the Lord. So I offered that fruit to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the store, even though I was not clean, means the bhoga was not clean, but Hare Krishna Mahamantra is lenient. And I ran back down, gave that fruit to that lady. And then I came back and did my shopping that I was required to do. So that's what we should be doing. Like in emergencies is understandable, but not on a day-to-day basis. Sumnima and everybody?
Yes.
Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Megha has a question that, is there a set procedure of offering prayers and services as the first thing for Krishna after you take bath and get ready? So yes, you are correct. Megha, you should just get the recording, the video recording where I have demonstrated everything, which has the entire process. It's a 2-hour long video. Sumnima and Polomi, Malti, I remember these have seen the video, or at least they have taken the video from me. Some others who are here from the Toronto area, I've shown you bits and pieces while we were doing services, but look at the whole video, look at the entire process rather than asking for bits and pieces. Megha?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's helpful.
Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Question number 20. Bhagavad Gita 3.3. Jnana Yoga described here and the Sankhya Yoga described in chapter 2, are they the same thing? Are these same as Jnana Yoga mentioned on the yoga ladder? So for this question number 20 and the next couple of questions to follow on Jnana Yoga, first understand that Krishna has clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that Jnana Yoga is very difficult. Therefore, in our bhakti scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, there is only one known example of Uddhava who followed Jnana Yoga. And that too, understand who is Uddhava. Uddhava is eternally a pure devotee and is described in Canto 3 at the start that Uddhava is a direct associate of Krishna eternally. So the very last thing that Krishna did before disappearing from this material world is that Krishna spoke another Gita. to Uddhava, which is known as Uddhav Gita. This Uddhav Gita is placed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11. Uddhav Gita is about 1200 verses and is heavier than the Bhagavad Gita that we are studying. So Uddhava, as an example of Gyan Yoga, is just to show an example. Actually, Uddhava is eternal pure devotee and direct associate of Krishna, means Uddhava is also doing bhakti. So my request to all of you is that any questions you have about Gyan Yoga, just drop it. Even if you try to do a PhD or a doctorate level of education in Gyan Yoga, it is going to be a lost cause. So just drop it. And for this reason, when we will populate the bigger yoga ladder chart as part of Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, some of the boxes related to Gyan Yoga, I will deliberately ask all of you to leave those Gyan Yoga boxes blank, even though there is information available to populate in those Gyan Yoga boxes on the yoga ladder chart. The yoga ladder chart that we have populated at the start of chapter 3 is just a tiny glimpse of the actual yoga ladder. The simple yoga ladder chart at the start of chapter 3 that we populated is just so that we can have a meaningful conversation from chapter 3 onwards, because the reference keeps coming about yoga ladder. So coming back to this question number 3, whether Sankhya Yoga is the same as Gyan Yoga, that is the Gyan Yoga mentioned on the yoga ladder. So Sankhya means analysis of the elements of material nature. Those who follow the Gyan Yoga path, they try to disentangle themselves from the material world by the neti way. That neti means this is not. So what they do is this is not, this is not, this is not, this is not spiritual. Means Gyan Yoga is the process of negation. So Gyan Yogi tries to disentangle from material world by understanding all the knowledge. And Sankhya knowledge is a portion of the knowledge that Gyan Yogi will also try to understand. So Gyan Yoga and Sankhya Yoga are not the same. Rather, all the knowledge that the Gyan Yogi tries to gain includes the knowledge of Sankhya also. For us as Bhakti Yogis, Sankhya knowledge is explained in chapter 2 as well as in chapter 13 verses 6 and 7 just for a brief understanding. Then in the purport actually it says that this Sankhya is explained just for brief understanding. Further, in Canto 3, from chapter 25 to 33, are Kapila Siksha, very heavy chapters spoken by Lord Kapila on Sankhya. Lord Kapila is Krishna himself. So the Sankhya that Lord Kapila explained for all of us is not just the dry Sankhya of analysis of material elements. Yes, Lord Kapila also explained this dry Sankhya of material elements in lot of more detail than what is there in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2 and chapter 13 verses 6 and 7. But simultaneously, what Lord Kapila explained is devotional Sankhya for all of us. In devotional Sankhya, besides the analysis of material elements, we understand who is Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the relationship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the Prakriti and with the jivas, so that we all can disentangle from material entanglement. So Gyan Yogis tries to disentangle that, but Gyan Yogis are not interested in doing devotional service, because the root cause of being in the material world is not fully purified for Gyan Yogi. Therefore, by following the Gyan Yoga process, even after Gyan Yogis attain liberation and attain Brahman effulgence, the Gyan Yogi still falls down back to earthly planets because their root cause is not yet fully purified. We all Bhakti Yogis, we get fully purified by the process of devotional service. Therefore, we actually do devotional services for the pleasure of the Lord. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question posted by Padma Kumar Prabhu in the chat about the previous discussion about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Padma Kumar Prabhu and everybody, yes, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a card. You can get it from the temple. It's a temple card where you have that on one side you have the temple phone number details, etc. And on the back side is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Padma Kumar Prabhu, you are in Toronto and around area, can whenever next time you go to the temple, is there at the reception, you can just get that card. And for rest of you, all temples should have similar card, and you can just put it in your pocket forever. Okay, question number 21. Bhagavad Gita 3.3, Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga are interdependent like religion and philosophy. Still, on comparison, Sankhya Yoga is called inferior and indirect. This seems somewhat contradictory. Please explain. And also related explanation or discussion is there in Bhagavad Gita 5.5 that Ekam Sankhyam Cha Yogam Cha. So Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not interdependent. What the question says that Sankhya and Karma are interdependent, that is not correct. Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not interdependent. I am assuming where the question says Sankhya Yoga is inferior is referring to Gyan Yoga is inferior. Sankhya is not a itself, it's just a component of the Gyan Yoga. So Gyan Yoga is inferior for sure. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, initial part, Krishna states that Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga are same because the end result of getting liberation is same in both Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga. But in practice, Karma Yoga is easier as compared to Gyan Yoga, because we just discussed in the previous question that Gyan Yoga is a process of negation, while Karma Yoga means Karma Yoga at the highest level as Bhakti Yoga is positively engaging the mind and senses in Krishna's service. Therefore, Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are easier to follow. Therefore, even though Gyan Yoga is higher on the yoga ladder than Karma Yoga, in practice, Karma Yoga is much easier to follow. So all this discussion is coming up very soon in chapter 5 and chapter 6, as well as in the bigger yoga ladder discussion. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay. Now, question number 22. Bhagavad Gita 3.4 purport says, external renunciation of duty without purification is not good. It also says renunciation of duties for Lord's service is good even if little advancement is made. The question is, what is the situation of someone who renounces work for Lord's service but then falls down from that renunciation? As 3.5 purport says, even a little devotional service is good. The example falling from brahmacharya or sannyas ashram in devotional line. So the question, what happens if someone falls down? Arjuna will ask this almost identical question in Bhagavad Gita 6.37, that if a person gives up material life for spiritual life, but if he is not able to complete spirituality, then it will appear that the person is losing on material front as well as losing on spiritual front. So Krishna responds in Bhagavad Gita 6.40 onwards that any advancement on the path of spirituality is never lost, and one continues spirituality in the next life from the point where he left off in the previous life, while whatever one may gain on the material level is lost upon death. So this point that spirituality is never lost, example is that, say in my previous life, I completed 1% of spirituality and my life ended. But I don't lose that 1%. In my current life, I start from 2% point onwards and say I completed up to 5%. Then in my following life, I will continue from 6% point onwards. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay. Question number 23 from Bhagavad Gita 3.6. What makes one a pretender? Can people in Krishna conscious movement also be a pretender unless fully purified? When we speak on principle, but not yet on the platform to fully practice it. So when one is not purified, one of the default defects in the body to cheat. So what happens is the person uses spirituality to cheat others. So for pretenders in Krishna consciousness inquiry, yes, it is possible. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verses 8, 9 and 10, describe devotional service in the modes of ignorance, passion and goodness. And Krishna goes on to describe in 7.16, well, those chapters are spoken by Lord Kapila. So it's Lord Kapila speaking, who is Krishna himself. Lord Kapila describes that in Bhagavad Gita 7.16, it says that 4 kinds of people come to Krishna. These 4 kinds of people include well seeker also. So unless one is purified by going through the reformative initiation process, till that time, one is bound to act under the default anarthas, including the cheating. So yes, you will find cheaters also in Krishna consciousness movement. Does that answer the inquiry? Although the inquiry may be asked by one devotee, but I'm pretty sure this applies to all of you. And if you are hearing with rapt attention, then you should be able to answer whether the inquiry gets answered or not, or hey, you have follow-up questions.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Megha has a question in the chat that, is there any particular frequency for offering bhoga? So at your home temple, you can offer bhoga to Gopinath as many times as you are offering, you are eating. If you are eating 2 times, offer 2 times. If you are eating 3 times, offer 3 times. But at the start, you can at least start by offering 1 time in the morning. Or whatever is possible. Sometimes somebody has to work very early. So at least do it once a day, one time as your starting point. But then keep growing from there. At the temple, there is a schedule. Don't try to be very rigid. Krishna consciousness is not rigid. Don't say that, okay, temple is offering 6-7 times, so I will also offer 6-7 times. Don't do that. Follow what is possible for you. Megha, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is there a routine for the moment we end the day?
Moment when we
End the day, like when we sleep, before that we offer prayers, that there is also procedure for that?
so when you get initiated, the spiritual master will give you certain prayers. Basically, goal is that we have to remember Krishna. So what Prabhupada has given in general for everyone, he says read Krishna book just before you go to bed. Even if you have to read one paragraph, or even if you have to say look at the pictures in the Krishna book, the pictures in the Krishna book are spectacular. By this, what will happen is you will end up remembering Krishna in your dreams, and Krishna coming in your dreams is identical to Krishna standing in Goloka Vrindavan, because Krishna is absolute. So try to read Krishna book just before you go to bed, or chant Hare Krishna, something spiritual related. Megha?
Okay, Prabhuji. And any particular prayers also we offer, like God, because
You can just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or you can chant Narsimhadev prayers. There's no particular set prayers. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is universal. You can just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Narsimhadev prayers are generally preferred by devotees also for protection, because Narsimhadev is the protector of devotee. I mean, Krishna is also, but in the form of Narsimhadev.
Okay, Prabhuji. It's like we can shut down the temple and open the temple, home temple in the morning like this, like
Yeah.
chanting.
Yeah, absolutely. So you open when you enter. So I had shown you when we did at the end of chapter 2, I shown you how to enter and exit the temple and follow
Yes.
those. Now, when you get advanced, those devotees who have a DT form. So I have picture only. So picture is lenient compared to DT form. Standards for DT form of Gopinath are stringent, and only second initiated devotees who are very stringent in those rules should do that. The next lower level is picture form. So I have picture at my home temple. The picture is little lenient. You can be little okay in terms of rules and timings. And the most lenient is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The example I gave, that I offered bhoga to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on a card in a store. The bhoga offering were not even clean. When you will get advanced, when you get second initiated, and when you have DT form, those of you who are here in Toronto, at some point you will go to devotees' home. What they do is, end of the day, they actually recite Lori to Gopinath, just as mother recites some Lori to get the child to sleep. The devotees do the same for Gopinath also, to put Gopinath to bed. So it's not just closing the temple. They have a bed, actual bed for Gopinath to lie down. They just say, Gopinath, come and lie down. They don't put the Gopinath to bed. They just pray with folded hands to Gopinath. Gopinath, now it's time for you to go to bed. So here they sing the Lori so that Gopinath goes to bed, or at least fall asleep. And next morning, how they wake up, I had anyway shown you the whole process. Megha?
Yes, Prabhuji. That's helpful. Thank
Everybody
you.
on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Malti, go
I
ahead.
have a question on this inquiry number 23. One cannot be purified in a one step. It will take a time. So whatever the time takes, is that called pretender? For example, if someone doing sadhana just for a tick mark, is that a pretender?
So that is not a pretender. Pretender means that you are calling yourself spiritual, but you are simultaneously focusing your mind and senses on wanting to enjoy the mind and senses. That's a pretender. That's what is described in 3.6 as mithyachar. In terms of doing the sadhana for a tick mark, well, I do the sadhana for a tick mark because my spiritual master has told me to do. So while you are in the process of getting purified, like how at least I am in the process of getting purified. So don't judge yourself while you are in the process. So example is while you are taking a shower, you are trying to clean yourself. Don't judge that while you are in the shower. No, when you come out of the shower, that's when you can judge whether you are clean or not. Similarly, while you are in the process of purifying yourself by chanting Hare Krishna, by reading scriptures, by doing devotional services, that's not a pretender. You are just in a process of getting purified. Malti?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, very good inquiry.
Thank you.
Deepa?
Sorry, Prabhuji, I just forgot to unmute.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah,
I forgot to mute, sorry.
All right. Okay. Follow me.
Prabhuji, just one question. I do the Nrisimha Kavacham prayer. Is there any time for it? I do it for my mother. She can't just, like, she listens. And, like, we pray that there is no upadrav, in the house.
Yeah,
But is there any time?
There's no time. You
Okay.
Narasimha Dev prayer you can chant 24 hours.
Oh, thank you.
Narasimha Dev is the protector for devotees, so you can chant 24 hours.
Thank you.
Tara?
Prabhuji, this Narsimadev prayer is the Aarti or which prayer? Is it different?
So in the temple, when you go, Dara, you go early morning regularly at the temple.
Yeah.
They recite the Narasimhadev Pranami mantra, and then there is a actual Narasimhadev Kavach prayers,
Okay.
which are very difficult and pretty long. So in couple of months, Narasimhadev Chaturdashi is going to come up, and I will play that video, the Narasimha Kavach, the whole prayer where in Mayapur they are doing the Abhishek for Narasimhadev and they are reciting these prayers. Maybe I can next couple of classes I can play that kirtan at the start. So all of you can join ahead of time and you can listen to that Narasimha Kavach prayers. So there is a pranami prayer that we sing at the temple, Namaste Narasimhada, that prayer, how it starts, that's a pranami prayer.
Yes.
And then there is a Narasimha Kavach prayers, which is pretty little longer prayer, and if you can recite that prayer, by all means you do it. But the Namaste Narasimha prayer is good enough. All you are trying to do is to remember Narasimha Dev. But for next couple of classes, I can play that Narasimha Kavach, the Abhishek and the prayers, if all of you are interested, and before the class time, so not during the class. So just as today I was playing Prabhupada Japa, for the next couple of classes I can play that Narasimha Kavach prayers. Dhara and everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
So everybody should join ahead of time, and if you are interested to listen, they are amazing. That prayer is spectacular. Let's see. I mean, depending on how much time we spend today on the questions, I may play it today. We'll see as we progress. First, let me first answer all the questions. Okay. Question number 24 from Bhagavad Gita 3.17 and 18. Which describes the consciousness of a self-realized soul, and then 3.19 gives direction or a suggestion for everyone and not just activities of a self-realized. So the question is it providing the aim we should strive to achieve while being engaged in duties, even if still we are attached to the duty? So in chapter 3, all these verses that are referenced in the question, Krishna is doing a comparison between Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga to show the difference so that we can come to Nishkam Karma Yoga level. So yes, coming to Nishkam Karma Yoga is definitely our goal so that we can very easily transition to Bhakti Yoga. I had stated at the start of chapter 3 that these chapters 3, 4 and 5 are linked chapters on Karma Yoga. And while discussing these chapters 3 to 6, it will feel that I don't understand where all these points are getting connected. So all these points will soon get connected on the bigger yoga ladder discussion as part of chapter 6. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
All right. Question 25. So part 2 of that question is, there seems to be some difference in person who is self-realized and still performs action as a matter of duty and conditioned soul trying to act as a matter of duty. In principle, both are performing Nishkam Karma Yoga, but I am not able to understand how the two are different. Is it possible to truly act as a matter of duty unless one becomes self-realized and a pure devotee? So, Krishna has described in chapter 3 that externally Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga looks identical, that both seem to be working in the material world. Exactly what the devotee is asking, that difficult to understand that both seem to be working. So yes, you are correct. Externally, Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga looks identical, that both are working in the material world. And then Krishna goes on to further explain that the difference between Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga is that Karma Kandya is trying to enjoy here or wanting to go to heaven, while Karma Yogi is trying to purify by working in the material world for purification only, so that he can go back home to Godhead. So the attitude or the intention of Karma Kandya and Karma Yogi is different. Does that answer the inquiry? It's actually pretty good, elevated inquiry.
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. Question number 26. How to be constant in Bhakti Marg and our sadhana? Many times I skip my sadhana without any reason. Is this ignorance? So skipping sadhana means that I do not have taste for spirituality. Lord Kapila explains in Canto 3 that if you want to advance on the path of spirituality, then get attached to an advanced devotee. So the solution for you all, or at least for the devotee, is that do the japa every day in association with devotees. You don't have to do all the japa with devotees, at least one round of japa. So we do have 2 japa groups with devotees across all batches. That one japa group, they do it in the morning Toronto time, I think it's around 8:30. I'm not pretty sure of the time, but it's somewhere around 8:30 in the morning, Toronto time. And there is another japa group which does 7:30 p.m. every day, Toronto time. So join those groups. They do one round of japa every day. So do that one round of japa in association of devotees. Further, do services with devotees. Further, complete your every week's spiritual endeavor together with devotees. So spiritual endeavor is what? That you read the verses and the purports, or you listen to Prabhupada lecture, or discuss Prabhupada. You can listen by yourself and then discuss the lecture with some devotees. That way your spiritual endeavor becomes with devotees. Or when you have special questions that I gave to answer, you can do those in association with devotees. And you are anyway nicely studying scriptures in devotee association like how you are present now. So those are some of the solutions for you so that you don't skip the japa for no reason or any sadhana. Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So Gulshan wants to know how to join that japa group. Gulshan, you can connect with me offline. I will give you the contact. It basically is Shalini who can get you onto those groups. Shalini Gopal Krishna. But connect with me offline and I can guide you further. Monad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhu, when we say this sadhana, so Prabhu, which processes are covered, like apart from the japa? Is it morning Mangalarti and
So sadhana includes your japa, your reading, your following the four regulative principles and doing devotional services. So morning Mangalarti either at the temple or at your home, either way is worship. So you do worship some way. For some, it may not be possible to go to Mangalarti or even do Mangalarti at your home. Do it at one time. It's worship. That's your sadhana. Monarch Prabhu?
yes, Prabhu, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Question number 27. In Srila Prabhupada's lecture, so the question is from a couple of weeks back. So in Prabhupada's lecture, he has mentioned about the evolutionary process of soul from trees to human life. Based on our karma, we might fall down from human life. But how is karma calculated in other living entities? So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that it is difficult to understand the evolutionary process of other living entities. So just wanted to know whether it is mentioned in any of the other scriptures. So the detailed discussion on how karma works is coming up in the next couple of classes as part of this chapter 4, verses 16 to 18. I request that if this inquiry does not get answered from the karma discussion, then you can please raise your inquiry, but I'm pretty sure it will get answered. So I request that if we can park this question for just couple classes when the whole discussion on how karma works is coming up. If I try to answer right now, it will first take up a lot of time. And if I try to answer briefly, you may have so much follow-up confusing questions. So I request and recommend that we park this question because the whole detailed discussion is coming up in next couple of classes. So basically, humans generate more good or bad karma in the process of exhausting their karmic reaction. while animals only exhaust their karma. Means animals do not generate further karma. So if a human kills someone knowingly or accidentally, humans will create a negative karma for this killing. While if animals kill other animal even to eat, still the animals do not generate any new karma. So detailed discussion is coming up. So we'll soon have a full class on how karma works. Everybody okay on the plan to park this question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 28. If we know something is to be done in service, but we don't want to do the service, is this resentment? So it's not a black and white answer. Depends on your attitude. Krishna consciousness runs on steroids. If you try to do every service available, you will burn yourself. Therefore, you have to find a balance. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, verse number 8, Lord Kapila describes devotional service in the mode of ignorance. That if some devotee is doing devotional service in the mode of ignorance, even though it is a devotee, so we offer respects to this devotee by saying Hare Krishna because he is still a devotee. But we avoid association of such devotee doing devotional service in the mode of ignorance. There may be times that due to some festival or emergency, you may have no choice but to do devotional service with this devotee in the mode of ignorance. So yes, do the service because it's a festival, it's an emergency. Just don't get into any discussions with this devotee. An actual example of resentment for services back this few years back from the Toronto temple is that one time one devotee who was a pujari was having some argument with temple management. And to negatively impact the temple, this pujari devotee, he will deliberately be late for opening Gopinath doors. So the temple has a schedule posted on the website and everywhere that Gopinath doors will open at so and so time. But this devotee will deliberately be sitting and talking on the phone at the time of Gopinath doors to be open. And the talking on the phone is just some chit-chatting, some prajalpa. This is an example of resentment. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question 29. What is the difference between lust and love? Love means selfless service. True love exists in spiritual world where every single liberated soul is constantly engaged in serving Krishna. Such true love does not exist in material world. This material world is an upside down perverted reflection of the spiritual world. In material world, things are upside down because material world things are perverted. Example, parakya bhav means unwedded relationship. In spiritual world, parakya bhav is the highest and most cherished relationship between Srimati Radharani and Krishna. While unwedded relationship in the material world is the lowest, is perverted relationship based on lust. And just as top part of the tree is reflected in a river as the bottom part. Analogy from Srimad Bhagavatam is that love is like pure milk. And when milk comes in contact with contamination, the milk turns into curd. Similarly, pure love exists in spiritual world, but that love, when touched by the contaminated modes of material nature, becomes perverted as lust. In material world, there is no love. It's only everyone is trying to satisfy their senses and they're calling it as love. That is not love. Love means selfless service. In the material world, the closest example, not 100% pure, but the closest example to pure love that exists in the spiritual world is the love of mother for a child, especially when the child is just born or growing up. So I said that love means service. So you can just visualize that the mother is simply having the joy of serving the newborn child. Why I said this is the closest example and not 100% is because at the back of the mother's mind, the mother may have a desire that the child will take care of the parents when the parents will get old. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay. What is the meaning of Varna nature? So we discussed Varna nature is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. These are the Varna nature. So Brahmana will have a certain nature. Example, Brahmanical culture, like to preach, to follow religious rules and regulations. So Brahmana lifestyle has a particular inclination. Similarly, Kshatriya will have the nature to protect. Vaishya Varna nature is farming and business. And Shudra Varna nature is to serve the rest of the three Varnas. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 31. What is anartha? So we discussed this in our offenses to avoid class. Artha means that which has meaning. And anartha means that which has no meaning, but we have given that a meaning. But has no, in reality has no meaning. So there are 6 anarthas, which are lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, and pride. All these have no meaning in the material world, but we have given them meaning. Well, this is important for me. Well, they are not. They are all anarthas. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Deepa. Question number 32. What is the meaning of Sankirtan Yajna? So I already described. Sankirtan Yajna is the Yajna for Kali Yuga. Sankirtan Yajna means chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, distributing Prabhupada books, and distributing prasadam. Number 33. What is the meaning of surrender to Mukunda or to Krishna? Doesn't matter, it's the same. Surrender means you are fully dependent on the Lord, and then you will have no fear. We discussed this in one of the questions today earlier. Last question for today. What is the meaning of yajna? Yajna means sacrifice. So there is a form of yajna that you might have seen, like You must have seen a fire yajna where the person doing the yajna is putting some oblations in the fire, saying swaha, swaha, swaha. So that's a fire yajna. That's the form of the yajna. In Kali Yuga, that yajna is not possible because there are no qualified brahmanas to perform that yajna. The yajna for Kali Yuga is the Sankirtan yajna. Have I answered everyone's all inquiries? Anybody left over? Okay. So let me first play the Narsimha Kavach prayers. Let me find. Okay, let me bring up on screen and I will start over again. So this is Narsimha Dev at the Mayapur temple, and they are doing the Abhishek and they are reciting the Narsimha Kavach. Let's hear.
सिंहकवचम् वक्ष्ये प्रह्लादेनोदितम् पुरा सर्वरक्षाकरम् पुण्यम् सर्वोपद्रवनाशनम् सर्वसम्पत्करम् चैव स्वर्गमोक्षप्रदायकम् ध्यात्वा नृसिंहम् देवेशम् हेमसिंहासनस्थितम् विवृतास्यम् त्रिनयनम् शरदिन्दुसमप्रभम् लक्ष्म्यालिङ्गितवामाङ्गम् विभूतिभिरुपाश्रितम् चतुर्भुजम् कोमलाङ्गम् स्वर्णकुण्डलशोभितम् श्रिया सुशोभितो रस्कम् रत्नकेयूरमुद्रितम् तप्तकाञ्चनसङ्काशम् पीतनिर्मलवाससम् इन्द्रादिसुरमौलिष्ठः स्फुरन्माणिक्यदीप्तिभिः विराजितपदद्वन्द्वम् शङ्खचक्रादिहेतिभिः गरुत्मता च विनयात् स्तूयमानम् मुदान्वितम् स्वहृत्कमलसंवासम् कृत्वा तु कवचम् पठेत् नृसिंहो मे शिरः पातु लोकरक्षात्मसम्भवः सर्वगोपीस्तम्भवासः पालम् मे रक्षतु ध्वनिम् नृसिंहो मे दृशौ पातु सोमसूर्याग्निलोचनः स्मृतिम् मे पातुर्हरी मुनिवर्या स्तुतिप्रियः नासा मे सिंहनासस्तु मुखम् लक्ष्मीमुखप्रियः सर्वविद्याधिपः पातो नृसिंहो रसनाम् मम वक्त्रम् पाद्बिन्दुवदनः सदा प्रह्लादवन्दितः नृसिंहः पातु मे कण्ठम् स्कन्धौ भूभरणान्तकृत् दिव्यास्त्रशोभितभुजो नृसिंहः पातु मे भुजौ करौ मे देववरदो नृसिंहः पातु सर्वतः हृदयम् योगिसाध्यश्च निवासम् पातु मे हरिः मध्यम् पातु हिरण्याक्ष वक्षः कुक्षिविदारणः नाभिम् मे पातु हरिः स्वनाभि ब्रह्म संस्तुतः ब्रह्माण्डकोटयः कट्याम् यस्यासौ पातु मे कटिम् गुह्यम् मे पातु गुह्यानाम् मन्त्राणाम् गुह्यरूपदृक् ऊरो मनोभवः पातु जानुनी नररूपदृक् जङ्घे पातु धराभारा हर्ता योऽसौ नृकेशरी सुरराज्यः प्रदः पातु पादौ मे हरीश्वरः सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः पातु मे सर्वशस्तनुम् महोग्रः पूर्वतः पातु महावीराग्रजोऽग्नितः महाविष्णुर्दक्षिणे तु महाज्वालस्तु नैऋतौ पश्चिमे पातु सर्वेषो दिशि मे सर्वतोमुखः नृसिंहः पातु वायव्याम् सौम्याम् भीषणविग्रहः ईशान्याम् पातु भद्रो मे सर्वमङ्गलदायकः संसारभयदः पातु मृत्योर्मृत्युर्नृकेशरी इदम् नृसिंहकवचम् प्रह्लादमुखमण्डितम् भक्तिमान् यः पठेन्नित्यम् सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते पुत्रवान् धनवान् लोके दीर्घायुरुपजायते यं यं कामयते कामं तं तं प्राप्नोत्यसंशयम् सर्वत्र जयमाप्नोति सर्वत्र विजयी भवेत् भूम्यन्तरिक्षदिव्यानां ग्रहाणां विनिवारणम् वृश्चिकोरगसम्भूत विशापहरणम् परम् ब्रह्मराक्षसयक्षाणां दूरोत्सारणकारणम् भूर्जे वा तालपत्रे वा कवचम् लिखितम् शुभम् करमूले धृतम् येन सिद्ध्येयुः कर्म सिद्धयः देवासुरमनुष्येषु स्वम् स्वम् एव जयम् लभेत् एकसन्ध्यम् त्रिसन्ध्यम् वा यः पठेत् नियतो नरः सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यम् भुक्तिम् मुक्तिम् च विन्दति 32 सहस्राणि पठेत् शुद्धात्मभिर्नृभिः कवचस्यास्य मन्त्रस्य मन्त्रसिद्धिः प्रजायते अनेन मन्त्रराजेन कृत्वा भस्माभिमन्त्रणम् तिलकम् बिभ्र्याद्यस्तु तस्य ग्रहभयम् हरेत् त्रिवारम् जपमानस्तु दत्तम् भार्याभिमन्त्र्य च प्राशयेद्यम् नरम् मन्त्रम् नृसिंहध्यानमाचरेत् तस्य रोगाः प्रणश्यन्ति ये च स्युः कुक्षिसम्भवाः.
Did anybody see Narasimhadev smiling?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good. Dara and who else asked this question about Narasimha Kavach?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sumnima?
Prabhuji, once somebody asked me that who's Narasimhadev, and I said he's the one who protects us, and he asked me, I thought Hanumanji was the one who was supposed to do that, and I was kind of confused on how to answer. So, how do
So
we take that?
Hanumanji is a pure devotee. Hanuman is not, I mean, Hanuman does protect in terms of his blessings, but actually it's Narasimhadev protecting us. We have on screen also right now. Look what Narasimhadev is doing. He came to protect Prahlad Maharaj. So Narasimhadev is the protector for all devotees.
Okay, Prabhuji.
And Hanuman, I mean, we discussed this at the start of chapter 1, in the middle part, that one of the auspicious things for Arjuna and the Pandavas was that Hanuman was on the flag of the chariot of Arjuna. So it's by the blessings that the devotee will be on the side of another devotee and where the Lord is. Somnima?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. So we still have just about 25 minutes or so for our today's class. Let's discuss chapter 4. At least I will lay the foundation. So in this chapter 4, we'll soon have a discussion on demigods when we finish verse 4.12. So coming up in next couple of classes, you all are bound to be shaken up with this demigod discussion. Not just shaken up, but you are going to be rattled. And then the heavy discussion will be on karma. So you'll have two back-to-back very heavy discussions coming up. And this chapter 4 has lot of small points. You will feel an overload of information, meaning our today's class plus the next couple of classes are definitely super heavy. The first 9 verses of chapter 4 has 4 key memorization verses, and Srila Prabhupada has 20 plus lectures on the first 9 verses. So you can imagine, definitely they are very important and very heavy verses. So chapter 4 is on the topic of spiritual knowledge. Srila Prabhupada calls it transcendental knowledge. The theme of chapter 4 is centered around knowledge. And the most important verse is 4.38, that there is nothing as sublime as transcendental knowledge, and one is delighted by this knowledge. So chapter 4 is divided into 5 sections. Make notes. Section 1 is verses 1 to 10. Krishna teaches and establishes dharma. We'll discuss that how Krishna teaches and establishes dharma, and what's the connection between chapter 3 Karma Yoga and how come all this discussion comes up. Section 2 is verses 11 to 15. Krishna is the goal and creator of all paths. Section 3, verses 16 to 24. Karma Yoga as the Dharma. So there are many dharmas. Krishna is recommending Karma Yoga as the Dharma for Arjuna. How does Karma Yoga bring about liberation? It involves jnana also, meaning one has knowledge, and by acting in knowledge, one attains liberation. Section 4 is verses 25 to 33. Achieving jnana through sacrifices. Section 5 is verses 34 to 42. Glory of Divya Gyan. So now we'll discuss section 1 verses 1 to 10, that Krishna teaches and establishes dharma. We'll understand that how is it that Krishna teaches and establishes dharma, and what's the connection with chapter 3. So you can actually divide this first section into 4 small components. So verse number 1, 2, and 3 describe parampara. Verses 4, 5, 6 describe Krishna's body. Verses 7 and 8 describe Krishna's appearance. And verses 9 and 10 describe benefits of understanding all this. So let's read verse number 1 translation. Deepa, 4.1 translation.
To get the book, 1 second. Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm trying to find the page.
Yeah, 4.1. Yeah.
Four 4.1. Sorry. Is it text 1, Prabhuji?
Correct.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Viva Vasan, and Viva Vasan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to I can't say the word.
Ikswaku.
Ikswaku.
Okay, so Vivaswan is the sun god, and Vivaswan explained this to Manu, and then Manu instructed it to Ikswaku. So here's a question. So at the end of chapter 3, Krishna was talking about how lust covers intelligence and mind, how lust has to be conquered by regulating the senses, and one has to be situated on the spiritual platform. And then suddenly, where does this sun god come into picture? So understand that the knowledge that Krishna spoke in chapter 3 is not something Krishna made it up at that time. No, the knowledge is eternal. Krishna is saying that these words, the Bhagavad Gita words, are eternal. Krishna has said this in 3.31, that these injunctions are eternal. Now Krishna is explaining how these words are eternal, that from beginning of creation, this knowledge has been there. I have explained earlier that Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all these scriptures have existed before even creation happened. So let's read the purport, and Prabhupada will explain the same points in there. Let's see. Gulshan, verse number 1, purport, paragraph number 1.
Herein we find the history of Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order, the kings of all planets. The science is especially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand it in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from the material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge and is in eternal relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizens by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life.
So Prabhupada explains in the purport that what is the duty of the king? The duty of the king is protection of all inhabitants. Now one may think protection means protection from thieves, terrorists, etc. But Srila Prabhupada clarifies that king should understand Bhagavad Gita first and then protect citizens from the material bondage of lust. And this is the connection between chapter 3 and chapter 4. That towards the end of chapter 3, Krishna was talking about how to control lust. And here at the start of chapter 4, Krishna says that Kings are meant to protect citizens from bondage of lust. Liberation from bondage is responsibility of not just the individual, but is responsibility of king as well. Kings have to create social, cultural environment by which people don't get bound by lust. So Krishna says, Krishna gives this knowledge to the kings because kings are supposed to influence the society. If kings are materialistic, then people will get influenced materialistically. But if kings are spiritually minded, then people will be influenced spiritually. Therefore, Krishna does not give spiritual knowledge to everyone. It is available to everyone, but Krishna is saying he gives it to the kings so that the kings can incorporate this in their policies when they are running the kingdom. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Monarch Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question related to translation. So Krishna is saying that I have explained this to Sanyog Vivaswan. So Prabhu, all these names are not there in the disciplic succession of first page. Prabhu, is it different parampara or?
It's not different parampara. Krishna has actually, okay, let me first ask. How many times do you think Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita?
Prabhu, I don't know, sorry.
Okay, somebody knows or can take a guess or wants to know.
Prabhuji, is it like in every creation?
Yeah, I have a general, you're correct, you're on the right track. How many times has Krishna spoken Bhagavad Gita?
I only know one time.
Okay.
Saying Arjuna.
Okay, rest of you? Okay, I got silence.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mansi, go ahead.
So, is it 4 times like the four different, what do we call the
Yugas?
Brahmaji and not Yuga, Brahmaji and the four Kumars and then Lakshmi Mata.
Okay, not correct. Okay. Ankit Prabhu?
Yeah, I remember that you had mentioned that Lord Krishna had to repeat because humankind had forgotten. So I'm guessing 2 times.
Okay, very good. So that 2 times is coming up in the next verse, 4.2. How many of you want to know how many times Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita?
I do.
I do, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I want to.
Okay, here's an eye opener. Krishna has spoken in this cycle of creation. Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita 36,720 times. How I get this number? So Krishna comes every day to give darshan to Brahmaji. Every day. And every time Krishna comes, he speaks Bhagavad Gita 2 times. So we know one time he has spoken to Arjuna, and we just read in 4.1 and we'll read in 4.2 that Krishna has also spoken to the sun god Vivaswan. So Brahmaji today is 51 years of age. And each year of Brahmaji has 360 days, not 365, 360. And every day for 51 years of Brahmaji, Krishna has come and spoken Bhagavad Gita 2 times. If you multiply these numbers, 51 times 2 times 360, you will get a number of 36,720. That many times Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita. Everybody on the same page? Silence.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So verse number 2 is a key memorization verse. So I will recite, and then you all can unmute and recite one line after me, please. Right now, first I will recite 4.2. Evam parampara praptam imam rajrasayo vidu sakalena mahata yoga nasti parantapa. Everybody unmute and recite one line after me, please. Evam parampara praptam
Evam parampara praptam
imam rajrasayo vidu
imam
Rajarsayo
rajarsayo
Vidu
sakalena mahata
Sakaline
Mahata
mahata
yoga nasti parantapa.
yogo nasta parantapa.
Tapa.
Raksha, translation please.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna will explain the need for describing this knowledge once again. There are many key words in this verse. One is parampara, that succession, disciplic succession. Krishna is saying that the standard way to receive this knowledge is through parampara. Now this word Raj Rishi. So Raja means king and Rishi means saint. So normally, aren't Raja and Rishi different individuals? Aren't king and sage opposite persons? Because sage are supposed to be renounced while Raja is opulent. Anybody wants to take a guess that what does this Raj Rishi mean? Is it one person or two different persons?
Prabhuji, is it someone who is doing their duty as a king but is renounced from inside?
Okay, follow me.
Yes, Prabhuji, we had, like, as a child, read a book called Raja Rishi, who's directly connected, who's a devotee of the Lord, and whatever he does, the subjects follow him, and all of them, along with the subjects and the king, they have created the kingdom as a kind of a temple to give submission and sacrifices to Krishna. So he's the king as well as.
Okay, very good. Both Gulshan and Palomi are correct. So Raja means outer ruler. He has power and he has control over citizens and servants. And Rishi means inner ruler. That Rishi controls the inner world, focuses on sense control and inner growth. When both the outer and the inner control are integrated in one person, that person is Raj Rishi. Another important word is Sakalena, that knowledge is lost in course of time. Krishna is saying that the standard when Krishna was present physically, when he was visible to everyone roughly 5,000 years ago during the Mahabharata times, that is not the correct standard. Rather, Mahabharata time is a deviated culture. So if somebody asks you that I want to read Mahabharata, why would you want to read Mahabharata? It's a deviated culture. Further, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, it describes that Mahabharata is for less intelligent people. So Krishna is saying that some 5,000 years ago, that the eternal knowledge is lost by the power of time. Now, today, 5,000 years later, it has gone further down due to course of time. So very important to understand that the deviated culture, Krishna did not blame Duryodhan for the loss of knowledge. Rather, it is the power of the time that things and standards have gone down. Therefore, Krishna says in the verse, Sa kalena mahata, kalena, due to time, yoga nashti parantapa, that the yoga, the system of yoga has been destroyed. So just as if we leave milk out as it is, it will go bad due to time. But if we want butter, then there has to be some positive effort for the positive transformation. Okay, Monarch Prabhu, purport, faster pace, please. 4.2.
Hare Krishna, 4.2 purport. It is clearly stated that the Gita was especially meant for the saintly kings because they were to execute its purpose in ruling over the citizens. Certainly, Bhagavad Gita was never meant for the demoniac persons who would dissipate its value for no one's benefit and would devise all types of interpretations according to personal whims. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the commentators, there arose the need to re-establish the disciplic succession. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that the disciplic succession was broken, and therefore he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, especially in English, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. There are innumerable interpretations rendered by different mundane scholars, but almost all of them do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, although they make a good business on the words of Sri Krishna. This spirit is demoniac because demons do not believe in God but simply enjoy the property of the Supreme. Since there is a great need of Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English, as it is received by Parampara, disciplic succession system, an attempt is made herewith to fulfill this great want. Bhagavad Gita, accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. Hare Krishna.
There are roughly 500 different versions of Bhagavad Gita, and all of them have distorted the meaning. I personally also, when I started, I did not know this. I picked up a Gita that was available, and that happened to be not the original. And I was more confused than understanding. So I asked devotees at the temple, well, Gita says this. And they said, no, it doesn't say. And they said, which Gita are you reading? And I said, there should be only one Gita. And devotee said, no, there are so many different versions. And I was surprised. I said, why? Now we understand that everybody is trying to make money from Krishna's words. And we'll have this same conversation in 4.42 about the originality of Krishna's words. So that Prabhupada says in the purport that at the spirit of taking Lord's property and enjoying for oneself, this is demoniac. There are so many interpretations by so-called mundane scholars, but they do not accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they make good business on the words of Krishna. This is demoniac. And Srila Prabhupada says, because proper commentary is needed, that's why Srila Prabhupada translated this Bhagavad Gita. So misinterpretation of Bhagavad Gita is a serious offense. And to understand this, understand with an example that, say, here in North America, here in Canada, we have two official languages. That one is English and one is French. So when, say, the Prime Minister or some leader is giving some speech in English, there is a translator who's translating in French and vice versa. So the speaker is giving a talk in English to audience of a different language, and the translator is translating in that other language. So the interpreter is mistranslating and saying his own words instead of what the speaker is saying in the English language. He's translating and wants to say what he thinks. Well, the audience will believe it to be coming from the speaker. So if the translator wants to give his own interpretation, well, you are free to give your own interpretation. Just don't disguise it as Bhagavad Gita. So if people want to write commentary on, well, yeah, you are free, but don't call it that this is Krishna's words, because that is incorrect. Therefore, Prabhupada's book is titled Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Prabhupada says, yes, you can write whatever commentary you want. Just don't call it Bhagavad Gita. You say, this is my interpretation, and people will have to judge whether or not to read that person's interpretation, because we all have defects. So anybody interpreting Krishna's words will also interpret it incorrectly. So we could only cover these two verses. We are just past 11:45 a.m. here in Toronto time. I won't cover more verses. I will send Prabhupada lecture for you to listen to. So what I said at the start, that it's very likely that we will not have classes for upcoming weeks. I will post the message as soon as I get information about this. So those of you who are in the process of getting caught up should use the time to get caught up on past recordings or Prabhupada lectures, etc. And everybody should continue to use the time set aside for Krishna. You should continue to read Bhagavad Gita, listen to Prabhupada lectures, whether or not we have the class. When the class gets cancelled, I will anyway send additional Prabhupada lectures for you all to listen to. Are we okay to stop here?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.